What's up, everybody? J Heat Sports Media coming at y'all again with that fire as always, spitting the hot topics and getting the sports conversation started. Y'all know what I'm talking about: football, basketball, and boxing. So the subject is football. We're still talking about the NFL MVPs, and this time we're on the quarterback again. Talking about Lamar Jackson. Lamar has a real case for the NFL MVP, starting with the fact he's the reigning MVP, which is a challenge, and at the same time, it's a reason why he is in consideration. Basically, being the reigning MVP, more is expected of you to get it twice in a row. That's in just about every sport. So football is no different. So Jackson is having a better season than he had last year when he won the NFL MVP. Right now, total touchdowns wise, he has 43. That's rushing touchdowns and passing touchdowns. He also has close to 4,000 yards passing, which is really special for a guy they said couldn't play quarterback. You're talking about a guy who has a chance. He's in grasp of being the first quarterback ever to throw for 4,000 yards and to rush for 1,000 yards. That could happen this year. And if he pulls that off, that would be spectacular. Talk about dual threat at the quarterback position. You really can't beat what he's doing from a skill level. It's not just about his athletic ability. He's doing better at reading defenses. He's making good passes with touch and feel on them. I saw a stat that Dan Orlovsky put out on First Take about the fact that one of the things he had as a knock against Action Jackson was that his throws were thrown into less tight windows than, say, Joe Burrow or Josh Allen. Meaning his guys were getting more separation, so they were easier throws. Now, Orlovsky was just nitpicking. It's a tough MVP race. But I would say that you could flip that as a credit to Jackson. His ability to move without throwing the football, to move in the pocket, to move out the pocket, to buy time, has made it where he gives his receivers a chance to get open, and he's the best running quarterback in the history of the league. If he wanted to, he could always take off and try to run. Now, that could be detrimental to his health. But Michael Vick, who was the greatest runner of the football ever, has been supplanted by Action Jackson. Make no mistake about it. And he's a little bit bigger of a quarterback, a little shiftier, even though Vick was faster probably by a touch. But he has shown an ability to not just be the running quarterback, but he can throw it too. And he's only had 4 interceptions this year. So he's got less interceptions as well than the guys he's really competing against. With the yards, with the rushing yards, with the touchdowns. And his team is winning. They are now number 1 in their division. That's huge. So he's checked off all the boxes. The biggest knock against Lamar, because I would say, even with splitting hairs, if we're just going to call a spade, if we're just looking at numbers, statistics, and we're thinking about the fact that this is a quarterback award, then of the 4 main candidates, the 3 quarterbacks and Saquon Barkley, Action Jackson probably has the best case, just based on statistics. But we know narrative plays in with these MVP roles. The media that votes on this and the other people that get votes, they vote with their heart a little bit, not that they're not looking at the numbers. And again, I can't state the fact enough that Lamar is the reigning MVP. What he did last year, even though his numbers were less, his team was also number 1 in the conference. They went into the playoffs as the 1 seed. That's not happening this year. They won't even be the 2 seed. So they took a step back in a year where they added King Derrick Henry. who is also having an MVP caliber season, but isn't getting talked about because of Saquon and his own quarterback. But it also hurts Lamar because, again, Henry is having a spectacular year, averaging close to 6 yards a carry, 1,800 yards rushing. If he had a great last game, he could break 2,000 this year. Like, it's serious having Derrick Henry on that team, and it gives defenses something to think about, which can throw them off on their heels because of Lamar's ability to run, Henry's ability to run, and everything else they got going on in Baltimore. So he benefits from having Henry, but Henry benefits from having him. They have to think about what Lamar's going to do, and sometimes Henry can benefit there too. But when you got two dogs like that on your team, makes it tough to give the MVP to him when you got a guy like, say, Josh Allen that doesn't have that stud per se. And I'll get more into Josh Allen in another video. Not to say Josh Allen should be the outright pick. Like I said, huge case for Lamar. The numbers say Lamar. He's got more yards than Josh. He's got way more wins than Burrow. He is just doing everything, really, from a spectacular standpoint. He improved upon his MVP season from last year from an individual standpoint, even if the team's record isn't as such. So there's many reasons. That being said, who do you all think should be the league MVP? I'm going to keep asking this. Get in the comments. Let me know. Do you think it's Lamar? I'd have no problem with him getting a second one in a row and his third overall MVP, because not many players have done that. He'd be in the same list with guys like Brett Favre, Jim Brown, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. The list is very short of people who have won 3 MVPs. Aaron Rodgers. It ain't many of them. Look them up. It's less than 10. So if he puts his name on that list, to me, he's automatically a top 10 quarterback of all time, even without getting to the Super Bowl, if he wins this MVP. And you could maybe make the argument already he's knocking on that door, but with a third one, regardless of what else happens in the season, you got to put him there. There is some history behind also quarterbacks not being given the third MVP until they've made it to a Super Bowl. Now, again, that's narrative and everything, but there is some statistical, historical facts that back that up. But I think Jackson deserves a shot, and he'd be a deserving MVP. All right, that's all the time I got. Y'all know what it is, and you know who you looking for. J Heat Sports Media. Remember to like, subscribe, or get at me in the comments. Find me on YouTube, Instagram, X, and TikTok.